Hi folks, in the last video you might remember we done the drive shaft on this Renault Clio 1.2 2004, and it's been for its MOT and it's failed. So let's see what's wrong with it now. Right, well, Jimmy took this for the MOT. We knew we had a drive shaft issue, which we had from last year, so we changed that on the near side in the last video. And I also showed you that at some time within the last year, I'd also done the front ball joint, lower ball joint on this car on the near side as well. Well, he took it for the MOT. It failed on the ball joint on the offside now, which is the driver's side, the lower ball joint. It also failed on a number plate light, and also the handbrake needed adjusting as well. And we're going to do them now. We got the ball joints, and just like there's two drive shafts for this, two types of drive shaft for the 1.2, there's also two types of ball joint. So I'm going to show you what the difference is between the two, just in case you get the wrong one. And also, we, as you might remember, as I say, we've done the reluctor ring and the drive shaft on the drive shaft. It come complete because we had the ABS light on. Well, the ABS light is now off, so that solved that problem, as I said to you before. So if you've got an ABS light up, it could be the reluctor ring. That's only one of the causes. It could be a sensor, it could be many things, but in our case it was the reluctor ring. If you go and check that video out, and that cured the ABS light, and that went out. So that's that problem sorted. Let me show you the two differences between the two lower ball joints for this model. Right, well, these just come from a local motor factors, and they'll probably have different code names or numbers depending where you get them from. These two here are the MotorQuip brand, and these are the two different numbers, as you can see there, for this model, which is the 1.2 Clio. This is a 2004 model. So let me just show you what the difference is between the two. They was kind enough to give us both so that we could actually show you on there and show the actual difference between the two. Now, I did mention in the last video when I done the drive shaft that I changed the lower ball joint, and there was a difference in the bolts when I actually got the ball joint. So all I can assume is that whoever put the previous ball joint on, they put the wrong one on, because I had an 18mm nut, as I said to you in the last video. The two bolts that hold these on were 18mm when I took the old one off, and when I put the new one on last year, I put on a 19mm. And I don't know if you can actually see the difference in the holes there. You may or you may not. These holes in this ball joint are actually smaller than these ones, which means that these would be smaller bolts and all, and these would be the larger bolts. And I did say to you that the smaller ones were in this car originally, and when I got the new one, it was the larger ball joint bolts, and they actually went in. So basically it must have had the larger ones in the first place, but someone had put the smaller ones on previously, which would have been incorrect, because there would have been play there. So our one would be the larger one, because I was able to get the 19mm bolts out of this one into this car. So it should have had the 19mm. It looks like we originally had the 18mm, and someone must have replaced in the past, and that would have been the wrong one. But you may have that for this model. So they're identical in size and shape, apart from the holes in there. So one thing to check is, if you're unsure, take one of your bolts out and take one of your bolts down to the motor factors, and just make sure that you have got the right size ones. Right, okay, with that said, let's start by taking the road wheel off, and to do that we're going to undo it, jack the car up, and then we'll undo our lower bolts on our ball joint from underneath the wishbone. We also need to undo the pinch nut, which holds the centre part of the ball joint as well. And don't forget, we've got to drift the bolt, we've got to take the bolt right out, because the bolt actually runs through that little groove there, so you have to actually withdraw that bolt, but you'll see that in a minute. So let's get on with it. Right, okay, that's it, that's the wheel off now. The ball joint, as you know, the lower ball joint is down here, we've got to get to, so we're going to be going underneath there. But what I need to do is to just examine the brakes as well while we've got the wheel off, and I can see that the brakes are fine on this side. As you know, it's been checked at the MOT station anyway. So let's get lower down now, and let's see what we've got to undo. Right, so this is our lower ball joint here, as you can see, and to me it looks like it's the bigger bolt one. So it was the bigger one, which we should have had on the other side from last time, but I've put the bigger one on now, so that's not a problem. And as you can see, these get very corroded under here, and these are the nuts we've got to undo there, and also this big pinch bolt here. So what you're going to need to do is to give it a good wire brush down, because these threads are going to be caked up with crap. So make sure you give them a good clean up first. And also the heads of the nuts and the bolts want to be as clean as you can get them, because you don't want the sockets slipping, otherwise you're going to need to cut the bolts off, and that is a whole different world of hurt. So let me just clean these up. Right, okay. And just give a bit of a lubricate. That helps to keep the threads clean. Now before I actually undo these ones, I want to work on this one. It's nutted from the other side, so I've got to clean up the other side, and you're probably going to have to drift the bolt out from that side. So we're going to undo this nut on this side. We may have to hold back here as well with a spanner. And the reason why I want to undo this one first is because this is still solid and supported. So I'm going to undo that side now. Let's go around there. And yet again, try and clean that nut and the surrounding thread up, because it's got to come out. Right, okay, let's see what we can do now. Right, that appears to be a 17mm, which fits on there nice and snug. I've got my 1/2 inch drive, which needs to be undone. No, that's not 17mm. There you go, it's actually a 16mm. So that just goes to show you, with all that corrosion on there, I thought it was a 17mm, it's actually a 16mm. So make sure you do get the nuts clean. Right, let's try and undo this. Right, there we go. That's undone. And I don't know whether or not the nut's going to turn the other side. I've got my hand on that at the moment, so I'm just feeling if it spins or not. Chances are that this is going to be very tight to drift out, because it'll have loads of corrosion around the centre part of the nut. So as long as we can get the nut off, or loosen it off, we might have to screw the nut back on again to actually drift it out. So nut's right loose now. I'm just going to take it in again until the head of the nut is flush with the end of the thread. I'm going to need to give it a tap. And I've got my little copper hammer here. And one thing to be careful of is you don't want to be breathing all this dust in here, so just beware of that. You might want to wear a mask. What you might also want to try is to turn the nut this side, and let's see if we can get that off. Alright, we've got a turn on it. Now while we've got a turn on it, I'm going to lubricate it as well, in the middle where the splines meet, because that's where it will be binding. You can probably see that there's no way that would drift out. Not when it's this tight. As you can see how tight that is, look. Just trying to rotate it to get some lube in there. Just flood it. Once you get moving, chances are, it's getting easier, look. The easier chance you've got of drifting it out. There we go. There we go, look at that. Look. There you are, see that? And it's actually turning out as well, so that's handy. But you need good fitting sockets, as I said to you. There, look, it's going a lot easier now, look. Just something you can possibly have to put up with. Now it's not screwing it out, but it's just spinning now because I've lubricated it. So I'm coming back around this side now and just removing that nut because I've got my copper mallet, as I said there, and I'm hoping I can start to drift that out now. And it's coming out. There we go. It's now flush, and you might need to say drift it out with something else. I've got a little quarter drive there, and there we go. And as you can see, there's our bolt, which was solid in there, and just using that little technique and tactic, we was able to get it out. Oh, right, okay, that's that undone now. They was a bit tight, as you saw, and a ring spanner, a deep ring spanner, is ideal for getting on the top there, but what I'm going to need to do now is just to jack the disc up a little bit, just take a bit of pressure off the disc, because I can't get the spanner out. So just get your jack. You don't need a lot of pressure here, it just literally takes the pressure off the bolts. You might need to get a lever just under. Here we go, look. That's it, out. So hopefully we can just get a screwdriver now and just lever that out like that. And now this hopefully should come out. You might need to drift this out, as I say. It is spinning in there, I can see it, but we might need a bit of a heavy persuasion to just get it out. We might have to open up this little slot here, which you can now do a bit more with the lower ball joint. There we go, just wedge that in there a little bit, and then maybe hit down on that. It's just that this is all full up with crap, you see. And having the support under there gives you a hard surface to hit down on. Let's just try the bigger hammer. Sometimes these pop out easy, sometimes they're a right pain, and this one is a right pain. And your hands get greasier and greasier until you start dropping everything. Need a bigger chisel, really. Chisel's too small. After about 15 minutes of struggling, I think it's time to call the big boys out. Look, let's try these. See if we can get that in there like that, look, and get a proper swing on it. Come on, come on. There we go. Oh, there you go. Now as you can see, I've had to give that a right muller in. Sometimes they come out easy, sometimes they don't. This one didn't. Oh, so that's it. So just get that nut back out of there. Give the area a bit of a clean up, and don't forget to clean your disc off as well, where you've been spraying lubricant. And let's start putting the other one back in. you go. As you can see, Jimmy's just come home in time to finish the job off. Probably take all the credit for it and all. So they can be easy, they can be alright pain. Ideally you want the car up in the air so that you can pull down on that wishbone. We know all about that, but sometimes you've got to make do with what you've got, and that's the sort of trouble you can come up against, getting that ball joint out as well. So that's the trouble we've come up against. It's now done. It took me about 35-40 minutes to get that out, and in the end it just fell out when Jimmy turned up. Unbelievable. Right, well, Jimmy's done all the other little jobs now. He's done the reversing light, which the number plate light, and a couple of the other little jobs as well. So we're going to whip it down for the MOT now. Hopefully she'll pass. Right, we're just down the MOT station now, and it's over there. The bloke's had a look at it. Jimmy's gone inside. I don't know what's happening, so we'll see if it's passed or not. Can't see any paperwork changing hands. Who knows? What a mystery. Right, well, there you go. There's our MOT certificate there, as you can probably see. We've got a pass, and the only thing is a nail in the offside rear tyre, which Jimmy's going to change anyway. Didn't know we had that one, but that's it, job done. So there you go. We was able to get this car back on the road again. This is a sub £500 car, probably around the £500 bracket. And if you was to get this job, all them little jobs we've had to do, the front drive shaft on this side we've replaced. We've done the lower ball joint on that side. We've repaired the handbrake. We've adjusted the handbrake up. We've changed the fitting on the rear number plate light, as well as top the brake fluid up. And if you was going to get that job done, all them little jobs done in the garage, that could cost you a few £100. And a lot of people would normally say, oh, it's worth nearly as much as the car. We'll scrap it. We're not going to have that work done because it's worth near enough the amount of what the car's worth. So that's why you see so many of these cars down at the breakers yard of this sort of age bracket, because they're uneconomical to repair, for a garage to repair them. But if you're doing the work yourself, you can save a few £100 and also keep your car on the road. That's what we've done here, and that's what you can possibly do if you've got a good selection of tools, a bit of common sense, and the patience and the time to be able to do this sort of stuff. Anyway, thanks very much. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Now we've got this car back on the road again, and we'll see you in the next video. And until then, bye for now.